So, we're back, and now we're going to be reviewing Marvel's The Avengers.
We know the movie's been out for a while, and both of us have probably seen it in theaters like 3 times.
We saw it in theaters twice, and then shh, I may or may not have it on my laptop, and we may or may not watch it like at least once a week.
So anyway, to the actual review.
I loved that movie so much.
That movie is like a religious experience. That's the best way to say it.
It was awesome. I'm gonna go with my first time. I'm gonna review it from my first time watching it. My first time watching it, we went and saw it in theaters. A week after it came out. I I was currently residing in Washington, and I promised him, Dustin, that I would, when I got to Georgia to go see him graduate, that what we would do, we would go see the Avengers with our other friend Jessica. And we went and visited Jessica, and that day we went and saw the Avengers, and
in 3D.
in 3D. Holy
shit!
Oh my god! First of all, Joss Whedon, you're a genius.
I love you.
I love you.
If you ever see this clip, I love you. We love you. That is, you are a genius.
Okay.
I've never expected you to do a superhero movie, but do another one, please.
Yes.
I will personally fund it. I'm broke as fuck, but I will personally
we will find a way to make it happen.
Yes. I'll sell my ass on the street if you make another movie.
Wow, a little far there. That
I don't
was a
care.
little too far. So let's see, how should I start this out? The Avengers. So it starts out, they're in this cave, or it's actually Shield headquarters, whatever, in this cave, and the Tesseract has started acting up, and it created a portal that dropped Loki into Shield headquarters. Shit goes nuts.
And Loki winds up getting away with the Tesseract.
And he puts Eric Selvig and Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, under his little Loki madness spell.
Ooh.
And they get away, and then they're like, we need to assemble the Avengers.
Avengers assemble.
Yes. And then Coulson calls Black Widow while she's being interrogated, and she kicks a bunch of fucking Russian ass, and it's just like, and just fucks.
She kicks more Russian ass than America.
She just fucks these guys up because Coulson said one sentence. Barton has been compromised.
And she's
just done. And then she's off.
She beats motherfucker up
tied to a chair.
Tied to a chair.
Just like.
Yeah, she whoops ass. Anyway.
And then
continuing.
After that, she is summoned to go talk to Dr. Bruce Banner, and
AKA
the Hulk. If you guys don't, if anyone's watching this and you don't know anything about it, he's the Hulk. He's all secluded off in India and shit, trying to relax and get in touch with his inner chi so he doesn't Hulk out on people. And so she takes him off. She has this little kid come up and is like, blah, 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 in Indian. I don't know what this Hindi, whatever. Sorry, I'm politically incorrect. But she...
You also don't know what people in India speak.
Anyway, she has this little child lure him out to this place on the edge of town, and she starts talking to him and is like, we need you to come in. And he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. And she's like, we do, so do it. We need you specifically for research purposes. And then he's like, you're lying to me!
Yeah, and then Mark Ruffalo has his only moment where he actually gets angry at somebody and doesn't Hulk out.
And then he apologizes,
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was
mean. And everybody fell in love at that moment. And so...
And that's when we realized Mark Ruffalo
was
supposed to be the Hulk the whole time.
Eric Bana, you failed. I love you, but you failed. Edward Norton, I love you, but you failed. Mark Ruffalo, I was really skeptical about you. I was so skeptical about you, and you stole the fucking show. Kudos. Kudos to you. And then, after that, Nick Fury, aka Samuel L. Jackson, he goes to Captain America, Steve Rogers. I hope you guys know who that is. I swear to God.
America.
America. And
I'm a huge Captain America fan, by the way. And this is where I had my freak out.
Captain America is beating the shit out of some punching bags.
He has a line of them just laid up.
Just because he's just like, and then he gets pissed off enough and he just punches it and it flies
clear across the gym.
Yep. And then he's like, "You're trying to summon me on a mission or trying to get me back into the world? No, we're trying to save it," because he's fucking Samuel L. Jackson, and it's just like
over dramatic.
Yes.
But then again, they were trying to save the world from Loki.
Yes. So he's like, "There's a briefing packet at your apartment, blah 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 blah." Howard Stark fished the Tesseract out of the ocean when he found you. Is there anything that you should tell us about the Tesseract? Because if you haven't seen Captain America, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to save that. We're going to review all of the Marvel movies. I just decided it. It's happening.
Keep watching.
Keep watching. And he's like...
Except Ghost Rider. You expect us to watch Ghost Rider. I will find you.
What? Fuck you. No.
Exactly.
No Ghost Rider because Nicolas Cage and his terrible hairpiece. Just no.
He doesn't need to be a superhero. They never could have made that movie any good anyway. I will watch Blade, however.
Okay. Anyway, so after Captain America, Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Iron Love. No, I'm kidding. I just really love Iron Man.
Isn't he your like spirit animal?
Tony Stark is my spirit animal. Yes. It's because I'm awesome. Duh.
She went for religious enlightenment. She found Tony Stark.
Anyway,
I found a fucking deer, but she found Tony Stark.
I found an otter, actually.
Anyway.
But,
we digress.
He's all fixing some shit in the ocean, trying to get the arc reactor to power Stark Tower, and then he's like, takes up off out of the ocean, flies back to Stark Tower, and he and Pepper are being cute all over the telephone. And then he gets back, and he's like, "Oh, that's why this works. It's directly to do with me because he is a narcissistic asshole, but I love him, and everybody loves him because he's Tony Stark." And then they're having their little moment with their champagne because Stark Tower works, and then the whole time Jarvis is bitching at Tony like, "Sir, Agent Coulson of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on the line," and he's like, "I'm not in. I'm actually out. Blah 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 blah." And so they have their little moment, and then the elevator pops open, and fucking Coulson's there, and he's like, "Security breach! No, Coulson!"
Agent Coulson.
Okay, we're gonna get to him in a minute. And, like, Coulson's just like, we need you to come in, and he's like, "I'm kind of busy, blah, 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 this isn't gonna work." And then he does this little thing where he's like, pfft, and then the whole file just pops up on all of his little computers because he's Tony fucking Stark and he can do that shit. And then Pepper's like, "You have homework." And he's like, "Well, what if I don't do it?" And she's like, "Oh, when you finish it," and she whispers in his ear, and is basically, everybody knows what she's saying. It's like, "Oh, we're gonna fuck when you're done. If you just hurry up and get it done, we'll just take care of this shit and it'll be over with." And so Pepper leaves with Coulson, Tony figures everything out. And then after that, it goes, shit, I kind of forgot what happened. What happens after Iron Man? They go back to Loki, I know that.
He's working on
Loki's working on the Tesseract.
And
has Selvig working on the Tesseract and shit.
And he's meditating, and that's where you find out about that he's got an army from another world.
Yeah. And then, like, he needs this thing called Iridium to stabilize the Tesseract.
Because it has anti.
Yeah. And so Clint is like, "Oh, I need a distraction," and an eyeball, and then flips his bow out like the badass he is. And
I want that bow.
Dude, he has the best weapons other than Iron Man. The Iron Man suit would fuck a nigga up. And then, like, just in regular person things, if you had that bow and arrow and you were just like,
zombie apocalypse weapon, I want that fucking bow on my side.
I just want Hawkeye on my side during the zombie apocalypse. Oh, yeah. And so they go to Germany. Like, actually, there's a flash to the helicarrier of S.H.I.E.L.D. and, like, Steve and Bruce Banner are talking, and, like, Bruce is being all awkward, and Steve is being all goody goody. And then Black Widow is like, you guys might want to come inside. And then the thing fucking pops up in the air,
Yeah.
flying around and shit
So
because it was
awesome.
just in the ocean.
It was like an aircraft carrier, and then all of a sudden it's like...
just like
chilling,
chilling, and then it's invisible.
That thing's awesome. Where the fuck is that now?
And then it flashes to Germany. They find out that the Tesseract or Loki's in Germany because they're tracking his scepter, his little scepter thing that he like taps people in the heart and they're his. And they find him in Germany, and so they fly over there, and he's trying to get these humans. He's like, no, talking about how like he's gonna take over the world, and that humans crave subjugation, and like they just need to stay on their knees, and they were made to be ruled. And then this old ass motherfucker gets up and is like, we're not meant to kneel to people like you. And he's like, look at your elder, he's so stupid. Ha ha ha. I'm Loki. And like,
and then
fucking Black Widow pops up in a fucking plane.
You kind of forgot.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot the whole part where he goes to like shoot the scepter. You do this fine.
He goes to shoot the scepter, and all of a sudden, Captain America in all of his glory shows up, protects the old man, and then beats the shit out of Loki for about 20 seconds. And then Loki starts winning, and it goes up, and Black Widow is in there trying to shoot at him, but she can't get a shot.
Like chilling in the plane, like yeah, Loki dropped the weapon, motherfucker.
Literally 100 feet above where they are. And then a system override, and Shoot to Thrill starts playing.
And guess who? Mr. Tony fucking Stark pops down from the sky and is like, did you miss me, Agent Romanov? And she's like, it's so funny because it's Tony Stark. If it was anyone else, I'd kill them. And then he's like, he pops down on the ground next to Captain America, and he's like, Captain? You're supposed to say Mr. Stark, damn it! You fucked that up. Okay, take 2. Captain?
Mr. Stark?
And then he's like, make a move, Reindeer Games.
Yeah, and he pulls out like 1 billion weapons on him, so he's finally like,
maybe I should stop. And
so he does.
And then
they take him into custody, and there's a cutscene, and he's flying, and they're flying in the helicarrier.
Or they're flying in the little plane.
And they're flying in like a little plane.
And then, like, it's thundering and lightning, and then Captain America looks at him and is like, oh, there's a little scared of a little thunder and lightning. He's like, I'm not overly fond of what follows. And then Thor!
Fucking Thor.
Just onto the plane.
And steals
Loki out of the plane. And then drops into a forest. And then Captain America and Iron Man are like, arguing with each other and shit. Like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? Mr. Stark, we need a plan of attack. I have a plan. Attack. And then he just dives out the fucking plane.
And then Captain America has to follow his ass.
And so there's like this whole, it cuts to Thor and Loki on the ground. They're talking. And he's like, come back home, give up this poisonous dream! All talking in like old English and shit.
Yeah.
And then he's like, listen to me! And then out of nowhere, just like, this is Thor, like my hand is Thor, and then this other hand is Iron Man, into another part of the forest. And then there's this huge epic scene in between.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Thor and Captain America and Iron Man, and they're just beating the fuck out of each other. And then
Iron Man and Thor are fighting. Loki is still sitting up on this mountain. The fact that he didn't run away kind of surprises me. I don't know why he didn't run away.
Me either.
And then they get him back in captivity. I'm just like, okay.
And then Captain America is like, stop! And then like does something where he like blocks Thor's thunderbolt with the shield, and like they level the forest.
Yeah, they've leveled this whole damn forest, like.
And they're like, well,
done. Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, like
just damn.
And then they all stand in a triangle and just look at each other like, shit. We just fucked this crap up. And then they take Loki and it's like cut back to the helicarrier, and they've got him in the Hulk's cage that they built for him. It's this giant ass cage.
It's like a giant glass bubble. I think it's pretty much the same one they put Magneto in X-Men.
Yeah.
If you remember that one where it's all plastic.
Yeah.
Except not plastic, it's glass.
And so there's this dialogue between Loki and Nick Fury about Loki talking about how he's going to win and how he's real power and that Nick Fury doesn't know what he's dealing with. And then Nick Fury's just like, fuck you, let me know if real power needs a magazine. And then they come back, and then they're all just chilling, talking about what's going on. Like, oh, why does Loki need iridium? And then Tony starts like through the doors, and he's like, oh, it's a stabilizing agent. And then like turns to Phil Coulson and is just talking to him. And then turns back to them and just starts talking sciencey to them. And then Bruce Banner is like, blurp, science. And then they look at each other and they're like, we're best friends. And
And this is where the science bros start. That exact moment.
and
Like,
so
half hour into the movie.
I know, right? No, actually, that is way more than that's like an hour into the movie. The whole
That's
first
not the
part of the
point.
fucking movie takes like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, the boring part. The whole part where
Like
they
the Tesseract part at the
Ugh.
beginning, 20 fucking minutes long of them trying to like, oh, just
escape.
fuck it.
It's pretty annoying actually.
So after that, Black Widow goes to talk to Loki and is asking what she needs to do to get Barton free. And he's like, oh, is this love? And she's like, no, love is for children. I owe him a debt. I've got red on my ledger. And she's being all sassy and shit. Like,
By the way,
using her.
I thought this was so dirty because I have the brain of a 12-year-old. When he's like, it's dripping, gushing red, I'm just like.
And so he's.
Period jokes.
So she's trying to like fake emotion into this because she's a spy. She shows emotion, but whatever emotion she's showing is not actually what she's feeling. What are you fucking doing?
Being a spy.
Okay, and then
It's my James Bond.
after that, she gets what she needs out of him, trying to figure out his angle, why he was taken. Turns
So
out
easy.
turns out he wants the Hulk. He wants Bruce Banner to Hulk out and fuck shit up. And then she's like, "Peace out, nigga. You gave me the information that I need." And then it cuts to the lab where Tony and Bruce are like scanning for gamma radiation, trying to figure out where they can
And they're
locate
also-
the Tesseract.
They're also hacking. Like Tony's
Yeah.
been hacking since he got there, and he's trying to
Locate
figure out why
the shield
they
why
need
shield
the
needed-
Tesseract,
Yeah.
or trying to figure out all the secrets.
And then Captain America walks in and is like talking to the both of them, and then Tony Stark is like Bzzzt! And like pokes and zaps Bruce Banner, and he's like, "Hey!" And then Captain America's like, "You shouldn't be doing that because he's gonna Hulk out and put everybody in danger." And then is everything a joke to you? Funny things are.
Anyway, after all of this,
Basically, they just start bitching at each other.
let's get back to the main action.
Like, okay, yeah, they're bitching at each other, blah 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 blah. Then everybody ends up in the lab somehow. I don't remember exactly. They just start walking.
Yeah, they
in
just
one at a
walk.
time.
It's like a sitcom or something, like the Brady
It's like
Bunch.
watching Friends.
Exactly. Like everybody shows up at once.
Yeah. And then they're all bitching at each other. There's like blah 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 blah. Everybody's talking over each other. And then like Bruce is like, "Do you want to know how I keep calm? You want to know what my secret is?" And then they're like, "Bruce, put down the scepter." Did you just sing the entire?
If it hasn't. All right, back to what we're doing.
Okay. Like Bruce, put the scepter down, and he's like, "Oh shit!" I grabbed the scepter, and he puts it down, and then they get a match on the Tesseract. That shit happens, and then a fucking engine explodes because in the meantime, Hawkeye has hijacked a plane and like, pew 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 into into the helicarrier. There's this big ass fucking battle scene
It's pretty awesome.
where
Actually.
Loki ends up escaping. Bruce hulks out and like chases Natasha around, like
And
trying
then he
to.
fights with Thor.
Then he fights with
and
Thor.
you see the first KO.
Like,
It's pretty awesome.
yeah.
He knocks him into a plane, and then he throws the fucking plane wing at him. It's
Yeah. And then like Bruce just disappears because he's been taken down with
He
this
falls.
plane.
He
Yeah.
falls out of the plane.
Yeah, he falls off the plane.
Yeah, and then he lands in like a warehouse.
And then like in the meantime that that's happening, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers are over on the motor trying to fix the motor. Tony's in his suit. He's like trying to get the thing going.
Really fast.
And then Steve's like, "Oh, it appears to be run on some form of electricity." And Tony's like, "Well, no fucking shit." And
Oh, he's oblivious. That's what you get when you're from the 40s and you've been frozen for 70 years.
yeah, that shit happens sometimes.
All the time. You always find frozen
Yeah.
people. Anyway.
So they get the wing going, and then like Loki's locked Thor into the
Bubble.
bubble.
Like he tricks him and he falls into the bubble and he locks him in there.
Yeah, and then like he's talking to Thor like, oh blah 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 blah, I'm Loki, and then he
Agent
Coulson,
Coulson shows up
Agent Coulson is like
with a gun that Shield
phase
Shield has been working on
with Phase 2 in the Tesseract.
with with Phase 2. Well, it wasn't Phase 2.
Yeah, it was Phase 2. Remember?
No, Phase 2 is
Phase 2.
Item 47.
No, Phase 2 was the arms race that they were doing, which signaled the fact that they were ready for war. Hence why Loki came down and tried
But
to
he
take over.
says when he's holding the gun, he says,
like,
we made this when your destroyers came last year. They made it to take down an Asgardian.
Yeah, that was what Phase 2 was about.
Well, yeah, technically, but
Anyway.
Item 47 is the gun they make out of the Tesseract.
Anyway, he's got this big ass gun, and he's like,
It's
even I
awesome.
don't know what it does. He's like, back away, please. And then Loki's like,
I love Phil Coulson.
bitching at him, like being Loki
He's so
and
awesome.
shit. And then, like, he goes to push the button, and he pushes the button, but then Coulson's like, and just fucks Loki's shit up.
You were wrong. He's talking to him, and then Loki appears behind him, and
Stabs him, shot, but
goes through the wall, but
yes, he was right. Sorry, I get ahead of myself in my brain. And then Coulson's all bleeding up against the wall and shit. And then he's like, "You're not gonna win." And Loki's like, "Why not?" And he's like, "You lack conviction." And then he's like, "Your heroes are scattered. Your helicarrier torn. Blah blah blah. I'm Loki. You're bullshit.
fortress is falling out of the sky.
Your fortress is falling out of the sky." And then Coulson's like bleeding up against the wall and shit. And everyone's like,
So that's what it does. Yeah, and then Coulson dies.
or does he?
Oh yeah, there's a theory that he's coming back as Vision, and whoever's directing the Avengers 2, make Agent Coulson Vision. Please.
Joss Whedon, do you hear this?
Please.
Okay. And then, so all this shit happens, and it turns out the only two that are left on the fucking plane, on the fucking helicarrier, are Steve and Tony. And then Coulson, like, has these trading cards of Captain America because he's, like, the
They're
captain.
vintage.
They're vintage. It took him years to collect. He's a fanboy. And
Of Captain America.
Yeah. And so Nick Fury throws these cards, and he's like, these were found in Coulson's jacket. And they got all blood and shit on him. And then Tony Stark gets all emotional and brooding and walks away and is like, ah! And like queens out.
Yeah, he
And
has
then,
a moment.
like, he and Steve have a moment together and they're talking and it's all serious. And he's like,
Ever lost a soldier? I can take it you've never lost a soldier
and he's
before.
like,
We are not soldiers!
Bruh!
Technically, Captain America's a soldier
That's the
in the U.S. military.
That's the point.
But he says, we are not soldiers, and Captain America in his head's like, I'm a fucking soldier.
He's like, what are you talking about? And then they come to this revelation that Loki wants a stage. He wants it to be big. Therefore, they need to go to Stark Tower. So they all re-rally and like, what? Oh, that's right. We totally missed the fucking part where Black Widow and Hawkeye are in this fist fight of doom, and basically she knocks him on the head and
knocks his ass out.
Like
if my head hit a metal bar that fucking hard,
he dead.
I'd still be in the hospital.
Yeah, and so they're chilling, and he's broken his Loki spell, and so Steve goes to them and is like, this is what's going on. I need you guys to come with me. And they're like, okay. And then Tony goes, like, fixes up his suit enough to get back to Stark Tower and then starts talking to Loki and is like, you pissed us all off. And Loki's like, oh, what are you guys going to do? And he, like, throws Tony Stark out the window. And then Tony starts fucking Mark 7 with his bracelets. It's like,
and he saves himself when he's inches from the ground.
Yeah, like, he's, like, this far from the ground. And he's like, I'm Tony Stark, bitches! And then, like...
hand blasters.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And so...
Then...
They all come back to New York, and the Chitauri come down from the portal, because Selvig... I'm going to cut this as short as possible, because basically, like, if you want to capture the essence of this battle scene that happens with the Chitauri versus the Avengers, you've got to watch the movie.
Yes.
It's got to happen.
Like, we could sit here and act like idiots the whole time trying to
reenact it for you.
Reenact it, or
Just watch the fucking
Just
movie.
explain it. Yes. Like, if you haven't seen it, watch it. And if you're thinking about watching it, why haven't you seen it yet?
There shouldn't even be a thought about watching
Yeah,
it.
there shouldn't even be a thought about it. Like, if you get on Tumblr or anything, everybody's like, the fucking Avengers! And then, anyway, giant epic battle scene.
Giant epic battle scene. Everybody except for Bruce is there, and then Tony's like, "Tell me when Bruce gets here," and they're like, "Banner, he's not coming." Blah 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 blah. And then the motherfucker in like a part of the battle where they're just kind of chilling,
Like-
catching their breath. He rolls up on a damn jank ass motorcycle,
Like a moped, like. That is the manliest thing ever, because what are you going to do, make fun of his moped?
And then because right after he gets off his moped, Captain's like, "You need to get angry," and he's like, "That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry."
And then this giant worm thing that's like floating through the air covered in steel, he stops it.
He's just
It's like a floating train with teeth, and he fucking stops it with one punch, and that thing like collapses
It's
into
like-
itself. It's fucking awesome.
whoa. And then they continue the battle, and then the council that has been bitching about the Avengers the whole time, and Nick Fury is like, "I am ignoring your decision because it's a stupid ass decision." And so the council decides they're gonna nuke New York City.
Manhattan.
Essentially the same thing. She found your lighter. Whoops. That's a cute look for you. I'm a little out of it, sorry.
It's almost midnight. Let's do this.
So they decide they're gonna nuke Manhattan, and then Tony Stark is like, "I gotta be a hero," and he goes and he flies and he gets this nuke, and he is flying it and directs it up into the portal because he knows that's where to put it. If you can put it up in the portal, it explodes in outer space, everything's done, you know? And so Captain America is like, "Stark, you know that's a one-way trip." And he's like, "Yep." And so he's flying up into the
Pretty
portal.
noble.
He's flying up in the sky, and then Jarvis is like, "Should I try Miss Potts? This is where my heart dies." I almost cried when I first saw this movie when this happened.
Yeah. Like,
I will explain this.
One thing though, before we start.
Go for it.
You already knew he wasn't going to die because you
Iron Man
read
3,
that day
shut
that they
up.
were going to already make Iron Man 3. And what are they going to do? Make Iron Patriot and War Machine in
Shush!
an Iron Man movie?
I don't care.
And rescue.
It was still... It touched my heart, and it made my heart die a little bit, because he's flying up in the air, and Jarvis is like, "Should we try Miss Potts?" And Tony's like, "Yeah, I guess so." Even though you can see the fear in his eyes that he's about to die. And then he calls Pepper, and Pepper doesn't answer! That bitch! That bitch doesn't answer her damn phone! And Tony's dying and like flying through the air, and she's got a missed call from him because she's sitting there up on the plane watching all this shit happen, worrying about Tony, and then her phone's ringing, and it's
literally 30 feet. 30.
like not
30
even,
feet.
it's like right there next to
Yeah,
her.
it's like turned slightly
and it's there.
oh, I'm missing a call.
The bitch doesn't answer her phone, and then Tony's flying up into the portal, and he gets into outer space and releases the nuke, and it explodes. The Chitauri die, and then Tony's suit dies, and he like passes out, and he's falling. The portal's closing because Selvig has been knocked out by the Black Widow, and they're closing the portal with the scepter. And we missed that whole part. Now you know.
Now you know.
But portal's closing, and you can see Tony falling, and you think that the portal's about to close, and then phew, he falls straight through the portal. He goes back to Earth. Everything's fine. But no, now he's plummeting at the fucking ground, like from
space.
Pretty
much. That's where the portal was
and
like
he's
space and then more space.
And then he's unconscious, so he can't really be like and like Iron Man himself. So he's falling, and he comes down to like building level, and then the Hulk flies out of fucking nowhere and just catches him and lays him on the ground, and then they rip his face mask off, and he's unconscious, and then the
everybody's
Hulk
like, "Oh no, he's dead."
yeah. Then the Hulk is like, "Bah!" And then he's like, "Ah!" And then he's like, "Nobody kissed me. Let's go eat shawarma." And then Captain America's like, "We won." And then he's like, "Oh, yay! Let's just not come in tomorrow, guys. Let's just take a day."
And then what I think is the funniest part of the movie, besides like Hulk
Duck
knocking
Mother
Thor
away.
out. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Funniest movie. This is the second funniest. Loki has just woke up from getting his ass stomped by the Hulk. Turns around and sees the Avengers.
Just
looking.
all of them.
All of them.
Just like,
with Hawkeye like standing in the very front, like this far away, like inches from his face with a bow.
just it,
Yeah, and he's like,
if it's like
and
Tony
then
Stark offered him a drink earlier, and he's like, if it's any different, if it's all the same to you, I'll have the drink now. And then so everything's fine. They all meet up in like fucking Central Park and decide that that's where they're gonna send Lauren
Thor,
Lauren
Thor,
Loki.
Lauren Loki,
Thor and
Thor and
Loki
Loki.
back
That's
to
where they go back
Asgard
to Asgard.
with the Tesseract, and then
They all,
they all just scatter, and
yeah,
then
they all go their separate ways.
and like Nick Fury's all talking to the council again. They're like, "What are you gonna do when you need them to be called upon again?" He's like, "Oh, they'll know. They'll all show up." And then it's like, cut, and it's
Awesome
awesome.
movie.
We just spent 30 minutes talking about the Avengers. 30 minutes straight
And we just
talking
told you
about the
the almost the
Avengers.
entire. That's pretty much the entire plot of the movie, actually.
We review movies so you don't have to watch them, or no, we watch them so you don't have to.
Well, yeah. Also, like, if you like, yet again, if you have not seen the Avengers,
What are you doing with your life?
what are you doing, really?
You just
Go
need to
find something better.
just
Go jump off of something very
no,
high.
no. That's a little rude. That's mean.
I'm sorry. Just the Avengers has to be the most amazing movie ever.
Easily the best movie of the summer that I've seen so
Yeah,
far.
it's amazing so far.
However, I feel like
Still
it will. It's gonna beat out the Dark Knight. I think
beat that Batman.
that's why Batman chucked a bottle of Jack Daniels.
That was a Tumblr post. That I reblog. So that's it.
That
We
was
love
the
the
Avengers.
Avengers. Greatest movie ever. Go see it now. If you haven't seen it, if you have seen it 30 billion times, go see it 30 billion and one times.
And then watch us because we're
And then
funny.
watch us because we're funny. And uh, send in your requests for movies to review. We'll watch them if we haven't seen them. If we have seen them, we'll watch them again.
And then
And
just
we'll
to
give you a
refresh,
review on them. And we'll promote you for giving us a review. So,
you guys are awesome. Not as
bye.
awesome as me. Bye.
Deuces.